After the recent drop in the crypto market, panic is heavy. But let me remind you something. Right now, after this drop, we moved inside this line. We did not actually go much up or to the downside. And if you look for the patterns, this is something you need to keep in mind. That is a checkmate pattern. And here, it's a bullish checkmate which we are working on right now. So if the price does this bounce from the current range, even if the price managed to go about 22,500, that is something positive. But again, we do have to come back here, retest the 22,800 range. So if we are getting rejected there, we'll have to look for 21,500. But the good news right now is that there are assets which are trending back higher. There are assets which have already erased the recent corrective day and now in green. There are assets which are trying to bounce higher. Even the last day they closed back in green, even though it actually dropped heavy, it went back up and closed in green. Right now it's trying to break through the moving average, which is a positive sign. So right now the market is mixed. You do have a lot of different news and narrative playing out. When the week is getting closed, this is what dollar has done. Dollar drops biggest weekly downside from mid-Jan. We've been talking about this as the price of dollar was going back up. Now we are at resistance and we are trying to make a decision. While we look at what's happening on the fundamental side, it is now becoming so clear that the narrative has shifted. Ripple has a strong case. Yeah, we all understand that perspective, but the issue is if SEC is acting like this, that does mean they are going to bleed us a long time because they don't really care about protecting the retail. They are really looking to protect the status quo, the Wall Street, the bankers. So right now, they do understand when the economy is like this, when the economy is so bad, yeah, bleeding with time does make a lot of people panic. They may actually sell and move on. And that's what they actually really want. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. XRP also had a wild day. We wicked lower till 0.359 and then we came back up. We closed the day by 0.377, which is not bad because historically speaking, when we had these kind of long wicks in XRP, it used to be the local bottom. Then we used to bounce from that local bottom. So if we are following the pattern which we have been following in recent past, that does show you there is a possibility we would test the moving average first and then the resistance here. So we do have the short-term resistance, which is, really close to the moving average. So we now have to break that to the upside. But understand, Ether right now is at the resistance getting rejected, broke the moving average to the downside. So your major support is somewhere close to 1,500. So now we are close to that. But a little bit more push to the downside can still happen. So if we zoom out, this is the pattern which we are observing. And really, if we are looking at assets like this and understand that is a pattern which it is being formed, where if it bounce back up, that's the accumulation zone. That's just the start of something big. If you get that point clearly, now you really don't panic when the market is behaving like this. I'm not saying it's so easy to understand what the market is doing. But what I'm suggesting is when you're here looking at these assets on a macro time zone, now you're like, okay, fine, I really don't care because my time frame is so long and I'm looking at these assets in this horizon. And I understand this is breaking higher and it's just starting to get momentum because on a weekly, when the RSI shows you that I'm running higher like this, making higher highs, remember, this is critical. The RSI tested this range, which was a historical resistance, and then it broke that level to to the upside with this level of momentum, which kind of gives you a clean idea that, yeah, the price is about to do that, the price is about to go higher. And right now we are observing that the price is making a pattern, right? Now, it's not only in this asset. We just went through 20, 25 assets looking at their macro scenario. And we understood okay, a lot of assets are showing you they are reversing. And yes, I agree, few assets are kind of showing you we are below a huge level of resistance. That is not good in itself. But when we actually try to understand these assets which are trying to move higher right now, also tend to show you a pattern where it was clear that we broke higher, we moved higher, we are moving higher, which is really important because when you are looking at these assets on the short-term horizon, now you are looking for your indicators, now you are looking for your trade calls, right? Basically, you'll have your metrics to look for a lot of different assets. And when you understand that the MACD is about to cross to the upside, the price is in green, the RSI is showing you to the upside. Now, all that matters is go into a 1 hour chart and look at the moving average. Is it showing you to the upside or to the downside? That matters a lot. If that's showing you, it's pointing you to the upside, that most likely means, okay, we may have some upside movement here. But again, the uncertainty with the market is because of Bitcoin. Unless we get this bullish checkmate pattern, it's going to be really crazy. Because we are now in this range, we need to actually see the candle popping through this level. Maybe 22,600, maybe 22,800. That's going to be the positive outcome which we really want to see, because in a 4-hour chart, we are already reaching the ultra short-term moving average. If we bounce, that's good. If we are going to continue, we are going to come back to 21,500, which would be this level of support. Now, that will actually flush a lot of people who are heavily leveraged. I've seen people calling when the price was here, 22,200, 22,300, calling for go 50x in short of Bitcoin. And what happened? It actually went up to 24 before it actually dropped. So even if you are at that junction, you're already kicked out, right? Now, imagine there are people who believe this asset is going down towards 15,000, towards 18,000. Fine. They're going to go max shorting this asset. That is one of the reasons why if the price is bouncing to the upside, it is going to literally kick a lot of these guys out because the market is so uncertain. The market can do a lot of stuff which we don't anticipate. So that is one of the reasons why we actually always go on the macro and try to look at what it suggests. We are still here. We have not yet reached this bottom. So on a weekly horizon, you do see we are making this pattern which does look bullish. But this is a weekly. So you may need another 2 to 3 months to see the price going back up. But the issue is not a lot of people do look for that time horizon. Now, here in the market, you're literally going through a lot of different assets which are actually moving up, trying to break through, give you a trend line. And one of which is surprisingly, a small cap asset, if you will. And I'm looking at a dent on that time horizon and I'm like, okay, this actually looks pretty cool. Because if you are on a macro horizon, you are literally looking at this asset suggesting, okay, that really is a long-term support where the price is holding right now. And then you go on to the pattern side of it, the zone side of it, and you're like, okay, we are literally doing this. We are at the verge of a breakout through the accumulation range from which we may literally double from where we are right now. Now, this is a weekly, though. The issue here is you actually get a couple of candles slowing down and then the next couple of candles going up. So that's just 2 to 3 weeks and we are going to get the idea whether we actually do this or not. We will revisit this asset after 3 weeks to see what literally happened in this asset because right now we just touched this range, which is a retest of the recent breakout from the short-term resistance. And if we are bouncing, that means this asset is actually running another 100% to the upside. Now, I can be wrong, 100%, agree on that point. But looking at what the price action suggests, that can have a higher odds. Just like we talked about Bitcoin dropping, we were literally talking on the video while we were recording, saying, okay, we dropped this level, we did this, most likely we may actually have a downside. That's a probability or possibility which we cannot neglect. And even I was surprised with this level of candle. I thought we are going to come back to 22,700 or like 22,500, whereas we actually went down and touched 21,900. That was a crazy day. Agreed, that really was a highly volatile day, which a lot of people would hate. But that's how the market works. If you've been in the market, trading this market, or moving inside this market, look at this time horizon. This is early this year, early Feb. You still saw the price going up. You still saw the price dropping. So the price initially dropped from 25,250 all the way down to 23,300. So you did see a $2,000 drop there. So when you drop from 23,500 to 21,500, that would still be like a $2,000 drop. So this is not new in the market. We have seen how the price action behave in crypto market. But what's kind of a little bit surprising is a lot of these assets which are kind of having that fundamental, they're increasing in fundamentals, but the volume is really low, and as soon as the volume is coming, they're actually pumping. They're still showing you a pattern which is still holding, which is still good. Now we need a confirmation for that, right? Because we've been following assets like this and we've been looking at what the trend line actually suggests. And each time when you come back to this trend line, you're getting supported. You're getting interest from buyers who are entering into this asset. So that's just one asset. That's just another asset showing you the macro is bullish. So if your horizon is longer, now what happens is that your patience level should be higher. Your panic level, your emotions should be lower, which is the hardest part. Now, again, we look at XRP, and what's easy for us in XRP to do right now is to look at XRP Bitcoin, because we really need to see whether we are going against the tide. Because if Bitcoin is to drop again, are we actually going to drop further? This is going to be a hard part. Right now, we are at a resistance. We have not yet broken that to the upside. But what brings in a little bit of optimism here for us is that the RSI kind of suggests to you, I'm breaking higher, I'm changing things. I don't like how things are evolving, right? Now, this is a daily chart, and we are looking for the pattern evolving from November, since, the FTX issue landed in. But then again, when you go on a weekly chart, this is something, so bad, because the price has been at this level, the bottom, for very long time horizon. So literally the SEC case is bleeding you and me in terms of time. And if you don't have a longer horizon, that is going to be really hard. If your horizon was like 2 years since that case actually came in, you are now bleeding entire 2021, 2022. And still now they are talking about 2023. So it can be December 31st. We really don't know. So it was initially the first half of the year, and now it's like, okay, maybe by the end of this year. So that kind of thought process still exists in the market. So we really don't know how things are going to evolve. And then I don't know how many of you are interested in this stuff, but while looking at this, I'm like, how can you really make things up like this? It really does not look like a lot of educated guess which people are making here. Say, for example, if you are looking at this and saying like, US is going to actually take your assets. Fine. Put the logic inside that. XRP Ledger is international. The validators in it are international. And it has a decentralized exchange. So if you want to move your assets out of the nation, you can easily do that. And once you're out, you can then drop into any different asset which you really wish to move into. It can be a stable coin, it can be any other asset, but that's easily possible. Now, you can still use the decentralized exchange and move into a different asset if you really wish to do that. But the problem is not a lot of people are thinking about that. Because a lot of people now look at the cloud of the 100,000, 500,000 buyback proposal valuations, which they themselves don't know how the value actually came in. They just had to put in some numbers. The big the number is, the outcome is much better for them. They can hype the market, right? And that's what's happening. And I was actually having a couple of conversations with Twitter guy, and I'm like, okay, this is how things are going, right? A lot of people actually think like the US government is actually going to come against your asset, which is XRP, and they're going to do this. What you don't understand is XRP ledger is a decentralized ledger. If the governments really want to build asset, they're going to do a central bank digital currency. They don't really want the XRP there. XRP is designed as a bridge asset, not as a central bank digital currency. This is something, which blows my mind out because people do waste their time without thinking. I don't see a lot of educated people doing stuff on this board. What we see is a lot of people trying to make things up. So let's leave it there and jump back to the technical side of it. Now, while we look at the market, we do understand that we are looking for volatility. On a 4-hour, we are looking for a checkmate pattern. If that evolves as it is, that's going to be wonderful. But what we also have to keep in mind is that an hourly candles does not actually show you we have done a retest to 21,900. Usually when we drop like this heavy, we actually go down, retest that range again. Usually when we drop this heavy, we go back, retest that level again, and mostly put in a new low. So you go back all these times and see like, okay, here we dropped heavy, then we did a retest, but it did not manage to get towards a new low. Instead, it came to the candle close here, which was actually fine, but we still got the retest. So that's something important to keep in mind, even though we know that on a 4-hour chart, which is a higher time frame structure, that suggests you there can be a possible checkmate pattern evolving. But even that checkmate pattern, if it's not going about 20,900, that's just a retest and we may still go down to 21,500. So guys, if you're receiving value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. That supports the channel a lot. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.